So we have a few questions that are more, nuts and bolts kind of questions. So I'm going to dive into those now. So the next question is, do you get two workbooks or do you share and work on it together with your other parent? Do the kids have things to fill in? Do you score each other? And if I score my ex low on something, he or she know that I scored them that way and refused to work with me, so just, what are the pragmatics and the nuts?
Those are such great questions. So we put a note at the beginning of the workbook in the edition that we created, say, a year ago, that specifically says to the clients, this is your personal journey. You do not have to share your answers with anyone. And so the important part is that I actually want each client. Oh, so the answer is they each get a work, right? I want each client to be able to differentiate you be you and you be you, because as hard as it is, the us is changed. The us is less of the focus. And so you are instructed to keep this to yourself. And I say a lot of the questions in the workbook we'll be asking a lot of these questions together, but you can write on it a lot, spill coffee on it. Don't write in it at all, but just think, but don't think that anyone's going to be getting into your work. It's really important. Yeah, I had one client really nervous about that, which helped me realize how personal, of course, this whole experience is and when it's your day job, like you and I, we do this daily, you can forget that you have to be very specific and intentional with people to say, this is for you. You don't have to show it to anybody. But once you get into it, you realize that a lot of the conversations that it starts are conversations you need to have and you're comfortable.
Yeah, I think it does spark some conversations. And I think it also helps clients or parties to really get clear on where there is alignment with the other parent and where there's divergence. So when they start to talk about communication styles and one person withdraws when there's conflict and the other is more assertive when there's conflict, and they can see, oh, that's us. And that's why it doesn't work when we are trying to communicate in conflict. So
and what I love about that discovery is when they discover that, then I get to say, oh, I can help.
I can help.
Because now I know I've got a case right now where they both acknowledge that when emotion is strong and conflict starts to present itself, that they both fight to be right. So I'm like, okay, it's on, so my job is going to be very much to be helping calm. And it used to, knowing even if you're someone who thinks out loud like an extrovert, or if you're someone who really takes time to process in your mind before you put it out there, which is more of an introvert, even discovering that about yourself. I've had clients say to me, I never knew that about myself, but I've always felt guilty when I didn't want to go participate in all these social outings with my partner. And so these things that are, I don't want to say basic, but they are basic. They're fundamental to who we are and how we show up. I find people are quite enjoy learning about themselves. That's been my experience.
Yeah, mine too. I think it really, there's a lot of light bulb moments that I've had. Oh, wow, that's all making sense about why we had struggled. So,
have you noticed too, though, I've noticed that many times it helps them confirm their decision, right? The decision to separate, that there have been some insights that say, yeah, this is the right thing, as hard as it is, there's some hope there, but also some confirmation.
Yeah. I also, I don't know if it's a function of the pandemic and the stress that caused. And then I've also had this resource searchers, Jen, who, when with some support and some communication skills guidance, they realized that they can better than they had without that support. I've had people get all the way through to a separation. They start an uncontested, such as they want to see. So I've had a flurry of people where with a little bit of support and reaffirmation that, you're just different and you have different styles. And it doesn't mean one person's right, person's wrong, thing is broke. It just think about that and respect person's style. And you can make those things. So you and I are having it where and co-parenting, but sometimes they think like, well, maybe that was, we gave up on the relationship too soon. So
I had so many clients say, if we had done this work 10 years ago, we wouldn't be breaking up. And that's actually why we created the workbook, Planning for Your Next Chapter. So we created that one because the exercises were really effective in helping co-parents communicate more effectively. And so what I find now is there are some couples where we're not sure which workbook they should get because they might still be hoping for their relationship to work. So any listeners who are on the fence, right? I mean, it can be a really productive way to have discussions that matter. And it'd be surprised that you'd have that with a divorce lawyer, but we do spend a lot of time with people who are improving communication.